How many days a week should you be lifting as a jiu-jitsu or wrestling athlete? I'm going to tell you guys in this video. Let's discuss. What's going on, guys? My name is Josh Setledge. I am the BJJ Strength Coach, and today we're going to be going over how many days per week you should be lifting as a jiu-jitsu or wrestling athlete. Before we get into the video, I want to invite you guys to sign up for my free shoulder pain relief series. All you got to do is just click the link below. I get it. As a grappling athlete, your shoulders get banged up. I've had plenty of shoulder injuries myself, and unfortunately, I've had to withdraw from competitions because my shoulder injuries were I couldn't train effectively. I couldn't, let alone compete effectively and at a high level. So I understand what it's like to be injured. I understand what it's like to have shoulder pain and have that hold you back on the mat. And so what I did was I created a free guide for you that's going to assess your shoulder range of motion so you can see what you need to work on. And it's also going to give you some mobilizations and stretches that are going to help decrease some of the pain that you're experiencing in your shoulder. And then lastly, it has some exercises in there that you could use as part of your warm-up, part of your workout, things that are going to help you prime your shoulders before you go train, as well as kind of help bulletproof and muscle up your shoulder so that way you can enhance your overall grappling performance to win more matches and get injured less. So let's dive right into it. We're going to be going over how many days per week you should be lifting for jiu-jitsu and for wrestling. In the last video, we discussed three important concepts: intensity, volume, and frequency. And if you missed the last video, I'll reiterate them one more time. Intensity, all that is basically referring to is how close we're getting to your 1 rep max, like the most intense, eyeball popping, chony sharding, gut busting 1 rep max you've ever done for a particular exercise. Volume basically is defined as how many sets, reps, and then sometimes you can even calculate the workload by adding in how many pounds you lifted in a particular training session or how much volume you did over a particular training week. Frequency is gonna be defined as how often are we doing this per week, how often are we doing these training sessions per month. Now, we need to find the right balance between all three of those factors to ensure that you're making the most amount of gains possible in the gym that are going to correlate well to the mat, and it's not going to negatively impact your jiu-jitsu training. Let me give you an example here. If you say you go to the gym, you're with your boys, you guys are ready to lift heavy and get jacked, right? And you guys are doing Zercher squats, one of my favorite exercises. You guys are doing Zercher squats. You end up, you're only supposed to do, 2 sets of 5 at around 85%, but your boys are gassing you up, right? And you're like, all right, you know what it is. Like, we're going for a 1 rep max today. So you guys hit that 1 rep max. It's super intense. Your eyeballs are about to pop out of your head. You get lightheaded. You almost pass out when you rack the weight. You guys are getting hyped. Your boys are yelling, oh, you bro, come on, let's go. That's awesome. That's really fun. I enjoy that myself. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I know I'm a giant meathead. I love that stuff. But say you do that. Then your next exercise, you guys read some Instagram posts that talked about German volume training, doing 10 sets to 10 reps at as heavy as possible. So you're like, okay, let's do that. We're gonna get our legs jacked, bro. So you do Bulgarian split squats, 10 sets of 10 on each side. That's crazy. And then, so you watch another one of my videos where I'm talking about 400 meters of walking lunges, and you hit 400 meters of walking lunges. That's crazy. That you guys probably had a great workout. You walked out of the gym or walked out of the training hall with your glutes and hamstrings so pumped up, your butt looks bigger than any Instagram model on the internet, and you guys are feeling good. You guys had a great time. That's awesome. Well, what happens when you go to jiu-jitsu or wrestling practice later? Your legs start cramping up when you're doing guard retention drills. If you're wrestling, your takedowns freaking suck. There's no oomph behind it. There's no power behind it. Everyone keeps sprawling on you, cross-facing you really hard, getting behind your back. You're just so fatigued and so banged up that you have a terrible training session. Okay, it's just one day, right? So then the next day, you decide to lift again. But you can hardly move because you're so freaking sore from the day before. You decide, well, I'm just going to move around a little bit and get some blood moving, and we'll see how things feel at jiu-jitsu or wrestling practice later. You go to that session, you're still freaking sore. Your takedowns still suck because you have no oomph, no power behind them. You are still cramping up during all your guard retention drills, and you just have another terrible training session. So we've had 4 training sessions over the course of 2 days. One of them was awesome. You had a PR, you did a lot of volume, you got freaking jacked, but then the next jiu-jitsu session, your next weight training session, and then your next jiu-jitsu or grappling session after that, all 3 of those sucked. So you're kind of 1 out of 4 for good training sessions. That is a perfect example of a workout that did not respect training intensity and training volume. Now, when it comes to training frequency, on the other hand, you can't go too low on the volume or intensity either, because say you're lifting every single day. That's awesome. If you like to do that, more power to you. I don't like to lift every single day. I like to lift anywhere from 4 to 6 times per week. I like to have at least one day where I'm, chilling out with the wifey. You know what it is. Hey now. So say you're training every single day, but you're going really light. You're not even doing that many sets. You're just kind of going through the motions, not really having any intent for the workout. That's like the lamest freaking thing I've ever seen. I see it happen at the gym all the time. You're not even training that hard to make any adaptations. Your body is thinking like, what's this fool doing? We're not even training that hard, so I guess we don't need to get stronger. I guess we don't need to be prepared for the next crazy thing he's gonna throw at us, because these workouts are cake and they're way too easy. So there needs to be a balance, right? You can't have your workouts be so low intensity and so low volume that you don't make any progress, but they can't be so high intensity and high volume, and you can't do those workouts every single day to the point where you're getting banged up and you can't even train jiu-jitsu effectively or train wrestling effectively. So where's the sweet spot? Unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends. What you need to think about is how many training sessions can you do at a decent intensity that's going to elicit some positive strength gains, at a training volume that's going to allow you to get in or put in a lot of work that you can still recover from, and at a frequency that's not going to leave you too fatigued for your sequential jiu-jitsu sessions. Where does that kind of fall into place? That's going to be something you need to figure out on your own. You're going to need to test and retest. But as a baseline, or as a form of reference for you guys that I can provide, most of my jiu-jitsu athletes have about 2 semi-intense high volume training days per week. So on those days, we are working up to a pretty heavy weight on a certain exercise. So for example, one day may look like a really heavy squat of some kind, working up to a 5 rep max or a 3 rep max, or maybe even doing, 3 sets of 3, 2 sets of 4, something like that. And then they may do another exercise, so like a Bulgarian split squat. I love Zercher squats and Bulgarian split squats. I'll talk about those all day. So they do another heavy exercise. It's not going to be like a 1 rep max or anything. It's heavy, but we're staying anywhere from that 75-85% range on that second exercise. And then after that, they're going to do some higher volume stuff for the upper body. So that may look like bench press, 9 sets of 3. Trying to be as fast and explosive as possible, and then we may finish off with some upper back training, a couple sets of 15 to 25 reps on seated rows or cable face pulls. That's an example training session right there. We're gonna have 2 of those workouts where we're going really heavy and doing some higher volume sets. We'll have 2 of those workouts per week, and then if they need more workouts, or if they have time for more workouts, the 3rd and 4th workout are gonna be much lower intensity. Volume is going to stay about the same, and we're going to be focusing on restoration, general physical preparedness, attacking weaknesses, something that's going to allow them to feel better when they leave the gym, something that's going to promote a lot of blood flow, help kind of take care of some of those aching joints that they got banged up upon at jiu-jitsu or wrestling. And we're going to hit those anywhere from one to 2 times per week. So in a typical training week, as a baseline, my athletes are training anywhere from 2 to 4 times per week. Now, that's not the answer for everybody. I have some athletes that literally train 6 days per week. Their workouts are very fast, very quick, but they're intense enough so that they can elicit strength gains from week to week in their training cycle. And then I have other athletes that, I'm not joking, only train once a week. That's it. They do 1 workout per week, and they're good for the rest of the week. There is a method to the madness comparing the athlete that trains 1 time per week compared to the athlete who trains 6 times per week. That's probably gonna have to be a different video for a different time. All I'm trying to say is you essentially wanna lift as heavy as possible, as much as possible, as often as possible, as long as it does not negatively impact your grappling training. If your grappling training is negatively impacted, you need to decrease the training intensity, so use some lighter weights. You need to decrease the sets and reps that you're doing per workout, or you need to just cut out one of the workouts per week. I know it may sound crazy, like what? Like, we're all supposed to be getting jacked, like shouldn't we be doing as much as possible? Yeah, you should be doing as much as possible. But there's a difference between doing as much as possible that's gonna give you positive results and then wasting your time. And that's the last thing I want you guys to be experiencing, because I know I've done that. I was such a freaking dingus in high school when I first started training. I was literally training, I had close to 10 to 14 strength training sessions per week, and I was wrestling 6 days a week. That's just stupid. And that's a big mistake that I made. I did not understand balancing training intensity, training volume, and training frequency. And though it was no surprise that I was injured all the time. I already mentioned my shoulder injury that forced me to pull out of competition. It's no surprise that I was injured all the time, burnt out all the time, super tired all the time, and I was getting clapped in practice on the daily. So I don't want you guys to make that same mistake. Take this information, use it to the best of your knowledge. If you guys have questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below, as I want to help you guys not make the same mistakes that I made as a grappling athlete. I want you guys to win more matches and get injured less. If you guys are interested in my free shoulder pain relief series, all you need to do is just click the link below. No strings attached or anything like that. Don't be weird. I'm not going to be weird. It's all good. So if you guys are interested in that, click the link below. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Joshua Settlage, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.